Holly Cotton here, and I am joined today by artist Jermar Derun. And Jamar is actually I we were laughing before the show because he's an artist, and I was just doing my little business on Instagram, scrolling on my Explorer page, and I actually saw one of his reels, and I was like, "Oh wow!" Like I love seeing people living their passion, doing all of that, Jamar. So all of my shows are usually highlighting people who have a passion and now they're paving the way for other people. So thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. Thank you for having
So first, for anyone who hasn't stalked your Instagram like I did, and you guys, anyone that's listening to the audio, Jamar actually has some of his pieces behind him. And the heart piece is the one that I saw the reel of that caught my attention. So if you're going to stalk his page, that heart one is the one that I loved as well. So, Jamar, can you go into? I'm going to ask you in a few minutes about how you became an artist, but can you just give us an idea of what kind of art you do?
Well, first of all, thank you, Holly, for having me. My name is artist Jermar Derun. But the type of art I do is just all over. Like I said, I just try to not box myself in. So I have different styles, different things that I dabble in between. But amongst all, I usually paint with acrylic. But I use wood. I've made computers. I've done clothes. So just all over for from a general perspective.
Okay, got it, got it. And I did watch one of your videos that talked about how you actually came about being an artist. So, can you share with us that story as well, how you decided to make this like, hey, you know what? I'm gonna be an artist. I'm gonna start selling my stuff.
I just really just decided to do it. It was one of those things that I wanted to do for like mental peace. It was really just for me personally, and how I am just in my life is what in the business field. It's just whatever people take seriously, I take seriously as well. So I saw that my work started getting out, and I just saw that I just started getting better with it. And I've incorporated a business aspect, a sales aspect with my art, and it just took off from there. So that's mainly, what just what I've been, going through with it in terms of.
So have
I'm listening. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Have you always been an artsy person, like from a child, or is this something that you decided, like when you turn 19, I'm gonna start doing art? Like, how did you decide that this was gonna be your
um,
thing?
I played with like small, like in middle school, I played with art a lot, but I never really just took it to that level, right? So I just felt like it was just one of those phases in my life. And then when I got a little bit older, I just basically decided that I needed something um to bring me balance in my life. And of course I couldn't sing or dance, so I picked art. I guess so I just picked art, and I studied it, became a student of the game, and I'm still a student of the game. But most importantly, I just studied it, and it became a part of me. And I always tell people, art chose me. So that's just one of the main things that I just kind of speak on whenever I'm asked that question.
Okay, I like that. Art chose me. That's a unique answer. I love that. I love that.
Yeah, yeah.
So, like I was saying before, when I saw the video, I saw you basically were like delivering a art piece on Instagram in Hollywood, and you were
Okay.
delivering it. I think it was like Hollywood Studios or something. So,
Right,
how
right,
did it
right.
feel to have someone like Corey Hardrick validate your work?
It actually felt very magical. I think the painting originally is for Sylvester Powell, which is a great actor. I mean, it's a great guy, even better human being, but definitely a great actor. So the painting was for Sylvester Powell, and which is an actor on All American Homecoming. Go watch that if you haven't seen it. It's a great show. But I basically, whenever I got there, I just was going through the motion of getting my art to the Hollywood studios, he just came out and he said, "Hey man, it's Corey Hardrick," and I said, "I don't know who that is for sure." He said, "Man, he just wants to meet you," and he said he has to meet you. So, whenever he came out and we spoke and we had a beautiful dialogue. We just talked about a lot, and then basically he just told me how it felt and what it resembled for him. And so just to see that and to see my art go that far, I mean, even from where I am now all the way to the West Coast is a magical thing, but also for it to touch someone abroad. I think that is a very magical thing, and it also drove me to actually pick up art and be a little bit more consistent with it, right? So, yeah, definitely a great thing, and shout out to those people out there, the Hollywood All American Homecoming, excuse me. Shout out to All American Homecoming for having me and creating such a hospitable environment for me.
Yeah, it's like, sometimes we go along in life and we're doing all of these things and it's like I'm passionate about it, but
Right,
what is the reception from others about what I'm doing? So
right,
whenever you get someone you're like, "I love this picture. I think this painting
right.
looks fabulous. Like, I think I've got something going on." But, you're like, "Well, do I? Or is it just me?"
True.
So when you hear someone else and they're doing that and they're like, oh my gosh, like you're very talented. I know it's definitely like a humbling but like an elated experience as well. Like you're like, I'm not going to toot my own horn, but
Sure enough.
FYI, I'm
Yeah,
getting
you're right.
co-signed on over here.
Sure enough. Yeah, and there's a balance that comes with it. I mean, whenever you stay down and you work on something so hard and you put that energy out into the world, in the universe, even with other people, right? You just expect it to come back, but at the same time, you stay grounded within yourself. Because I feel like just artists. I mean, whatever I create is for me, and as long as I'm happy with it, I'm good. But for everybody else to see it and connect with it, it just means a whole lot more. So it's just what it is.
Yeah, yeah, that's whenever you start saying, put some respect on my name, like that's when you
Yeah,
that's
yeah,
when you
no, I
start
get
saying
it.
stuff like that. But we gonna
No,
let
I
you be
understand.
humble. So, now that like you said, you've been in this art field for a
Uh-huh.
while, do you feel like there were any Black artists doing what you're doing that kind of inspired you, or is there any artists that you look at their work and you kind of use that as a reference for what you're doing?
Um, From an artistic standpoint, black artists, not really, but from a business standpoint, all of them. I have a lot of artists that I look to and I refer to from a business aspect, especially Flan Manley, a guy named artist named Phil, Justin Wallington. There's just a lot of different black artists, that I look at and I admire, not just because they create dope art, but because they understand the art business as well. They understand the business aspect. And I just feel like that's with anything, even with music. Music is art. You have music, you have the music business. You have even sports. You have sports, you have the sports business. So the people that I really just look up to, black artists, I'm looking at them and I'm admiring them not only for the art, but mostly, like I said, just for the business aspect of it. Excuse me.
Right. And I think that's a very good point. I'm glad you actually said that because I think a lot of people you see all this part about, oh, okay, well, I'm going to be a painter or I'm going to be a designer, but you don't have a mentor or you don't know how someone else is navigating this field. You don't know when somebody screws up or what are some red
True.
flags or what are some things you can do wrong. So I think that's really good that you do have those people that, like you said, you can use those as a
Yeah.
reference point. And you can also
Right.
be like, oh, let me not do that.
True enough. And even definitely so, definitely so. And even then, even with that, we're still it's still inevitable that we're gonna mess up, right? So, as I was just talking to another artist, probably not even a whole 2 hours ago, and we were just having a nice dialogue, and I ended it stating that a beautiful thing is never perfect. So even with art or even within the art business, understanding that you're going to make mistakes, but it's how you react and you respond to them, and that's key.
That's there. You know what? You're just dropping all kind of life advice today.
You
I
try to
love it.
do.
I love it. I love it.
Thank you,
So
thank you.
speaking of that, and like you said, you get an idea. Art's not perfect. Things that you do. So how do you decide what you're going to paint?
Um, so that's a double-sided question because there's a thin perspective and there's a now perspective. Now, well, I'll speak about then, back then. So when I first started, I was just guided. I was just really guided by my body, my mind, spirit. So I could see a painting I could just be laying in bed and I could see a painting, and I would just immediately just get up and just start painting, whether it's 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock, it didn't matter. Now, I take my time to spend. You just spend my time. I spend a lot more time brainstorming and just taking my time, understanding what level I'm at, and trying to basically create art within that realm, but at the same time push the line. So that's the now perspective of it.
Okay. So more intentional basically than before. You kind of just the idea would come and you felt like I need to get this idea out of my head on the canvas ASAP or I'm going to lose it. And now it's more of the navigating and the intentional part of it.
Yes, so it's kind of like having a disc file in your head of just art, and there's certain pieces in your mind that you may not be able to create or transmit into paint on top of canvas the way that you wanted to get there. So understanding that, okay, well, I have to knock this painting out because it's within the realm of my creativity to get to this level, so I can knock this one out. It's the understanding that I have. So yeah, that is correct.
Okay. All right. That's interesting. So how long does it take? Oh, and there's Poochie in the back. Um,
Bosky,
he has the cutest little dog, you guys. What is that? A Frenchie?
he's a Frenchie. His name is Bosky. He's named after Basquiat. So
Ah,
yeah,
okay.
yeah, yeah. So
So for anyone who's just listening and is not hearing, I mean, not seeing, we're in the middle of talking, and all of a sudden I
yeah.
see these two big giant ears just pop up.
He wants to get some camera time. That's
All
all.
right, I know my dog too. That's why I have to lock her up. She's so
Right.
jealous. So how long does it take you to do an actual piece?
It depends. It's taken me anywhere from 2 hours to 3 years. I mean, I have pieces from COVID 2020 that I'm still working on. So, I mean, I have some pieces, like I said, it just, um, I see it in my mind and I just knock it out immediately. So anywhere from 2 years to 3 years, but or however long it takes. And it's not necessarily, and that's the thing about it. That's the key thing about, art and that's why my mentality is transformed is because I understand that it doesn't matter the amount of time it takes as long as you lay it out the way it's meant to be laid out, and you can look at it and you say, okay, well, this meets my standard, my personal standard. I just feel like even if the world accepts it, or if they don't accept it, I'm fine with it. So I just try not to rush it. But the ones that I feel like I can rush, I'll do it, and that's just for my soul, right? So.
So how like what are some of the things where you feel like a painting isn't right? Like whenever you're doing something and you're like, this ain't it. Like what are some of the things that you decide, this wasn't going the way I wanted it to go? What are some of your like red flags or or things you're like, this ain't it?
Just the skill set that I haven't practiced on, skill sets that I haven't tapped in and honed in on. I think that's normally when I say, okay, well, I need to stop, go back to the drawing board, and even meet with me, y'all. Like I go on YouTube, and just sit back and just say, okay, how if I need to learn how to paint lips, I go on YouTube. how to paint you lips, and that's it. So that's just, there's definitely times where I feel like my skill hasn't made it to that point to where I have it to where it lays down that image or that specific part of whatever perfectly, and then I just go back and study it. So yeah,
Hmm. Okay, good. I love that. Lifelong learner, lifelong
yeah,
student,
yeah,
very important.
yeah.
And so, how do you decide how much you're going to charge for a painting?
Based on emotion, and that's one of the things that I've learned from a mentor of artists, my mentor artist Flan. He has ICDC studios. It's just based on your energy. I feel like art is is appreciated by the energy that you put in it. So I feel like the value is in the energy and the accessibility. So understanding that, okay, I look at a painting, I look at how much energy I put in it. I feel like, okay, well, I feel like I should charge this in order for it to come off my wall, and that's just what it is. And then guess what? If don't nobody buy it, it still looks nice right there. So I'm good, right? So that's just it's just about energy, right? Because even here, like this is my home space, this is my dwelling. So even if nobody touches that painting or decides, hey, I want to spend whatever the fee is for it, I'm cool with it. It'll sit right there and it'll look good for me. In Bosque, of course.
Right, right, right,
Yeah,
right. Yes, you're PNC now.
yeah.
So, so I know that whenever I talk to people, I'm very processy. I like to know like the steps for things.
Okay,
So explain to me because I want to know how you actually paint a picture. So explain to me when you have an idea in your head, do the colors come in your head when you come up with the idea?
okay.
How do you start sketching it? How do you decide what colors you are going to use? Like tell me the you just woke up and you have an idea in your head. Tell me all the steps that happen to get it to be in a picture on the wall behind you.
So I'll say, for instance, like the heart. Um, of course, just without the background of it, but just the actual steps that I took, I knew that was what I wanted to create. So I went online, looked at an image of an anatomical heart. I looked at it, sketched it out, and then like I said, a beautiful thing is never perfect. I laid it on canvas, and I spent the first 3 4 hours just like looking, erasing, looking, erasing, looking, erasing. So once I got that image down, I realized, okay, well, let me go ahead and paint the outlines or whatever. And then in that essence, at that time of my craft, it was basically backwards, but it was just what was necessary. So I go paint the outline out, and then from there, that's when my creative juices start flowing. So that's when I look at an image and I say, okay, I want to put the gold right there. I want to put the red right there. I want to put the blue right there. And then while I'm laying it down, that's when I pick the actual tonage of the color. So I might go with the dark blue because the light blue looks different the way it bounces off the red. So that's just it's an ongoing thing. And most artists understand. I know it's kind of foreign talk, but most artists understand. Once you get to a certain level of a painting and you kind of got it down, you started getting your groove going, you start like, okay, I got it. Okay, we're gonna do it like this. And then you just start rocking out. And that's just what I do. I just get it laid in front of me and I just rock out. And like I said, no matter how long it takes, we just enjoy the ride and enjoy the journey.
Okay, got it. So I'm gonna start painting. No.
Yeah, you should. You should. There's no such thing. You become an artist as soon as you put a line on the paper and call yourself an
Yes, and
artist.
I am an artist, like you said
Yeah,
earlier. I can't sing, I can't
yeah,
dance, I can't draw or paint. Now I'm gonna do all of
yeah,
those things,
yeah,
but nobody's gonna pay.
yeah. You never know. You never know. You never know.
They were like, what kindergartner drew this?
Maybe in 2 years I'll be interviewing you about your artist. I'll be calling you artist
Yes,
Holly
let's
Cotton.
wink wink. Yes, I
No,
love
I
it. I
got
love
you. I
it.
got you.
Um so most of the times when artistic people are doing their crafts or whatever, they have other genres of art that they love.
Okay.
So can you tell us, besides painting, what are some of the other, because I did see a couple of things, like I think there was something where you were like sculpting.
Okay.
So can you tell us some of the other things of
Form
artistry that
mediums.
you
Yeah, yeah,
do?
yeah. So I've done a little sculpting. That was just like a piece that I picked up and I reformed it to the way that I liked it. And I added clay to modify it and then I painted over it. But I've done that miniature sculpting. I've used like different types of uh, fabric to create art. I've made art out of computers, things of that nature. So all over, and then going from here, even going forward, like there's a lot of things that I want to just dibble and dabble into. But like I said, we just try not to stay boxed in. Whatever I can get my hands on, and whatever I can see that's gonna say, okay, I'm gonna like this, and it's gonna look good in the house. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay, I love that. I love that. And so, do you have a studio at, like, where do you do all your stuff?
Right here on this table. Right here on this table. So
Hmm.
I have an island in my spot, and I have like it's like I bought like a mattress pad um some years ago, and basically I painted all over. It's real, you know, already it's painted out now, but
It looks like official painters.
yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, yeah. So basically, I laid on the table, and I put that canvas down, and I just go. Other than that, I have like two or three easels that I line up and I paint on as well, depending on what I'm doing. But I've done work on folding tables. I've done it on the floor. I've done it on the patio. I've done it in the grass. Whatever we need to do to get it done, we're gonna get it done for sure.
There you go. And
Yeah,
then everything also has different lighting. So I
true.
know outside the UV light makes things look different.
That's
So
right.
I know that's important too whenever you're looking at, like you said, the color schemes and
Correct.
how these hues look with this and stuff. I remember that when I took that one art
Art.
class in college that I hated.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
was like, ma'am, I thought I was going to be in here painting. Like, I did not know I was going to have to learn about hues and
yeah.
what this in the color wheel. Like, I
Yeah,
just thought I would be able to just
yeah,
go to town. And they were
exactly.
like, no, yeah, they were like, no, you have to learn. I'm like,
Yeah, exactly.
this
No,
ain't
I
it.
respect it. I respect it.
Okay, so I know that you have other things that you're
Okay.
doing as far as projects or whatever. So tell us about some of the other things besides being an artist that you are using your name for.
I've still making art, making clothes. So I'm into making clothes. Of course, I have one of my older shirts on now. Even Bosky, his harness has my name on it. So just making clothes, apparel. I think the next thing that I feel like I'm gonna tap into might be menswear and women's wear. So that might be something to be on the lookout for in the near future. But yeah, mainly clothes for sure. And then there may be some other things I might jump into, but I think clothes is. I think going into clothing is going to be the next level for me, aside from art, in terms of not boxing myself in.
Right, right. And that's part of that whole design sort of artistic persona. So I can definitely see how that could lead into that.
Yeah.
And so what I always do is I say that whenever people have a
Mm.
passion, that it's kind of our responsibility excuse me, it's kind of our responsibility to sort of pave the way for anyone that's coming up, inspire other people to do things, maybe go ahead and pursue their passions as well.
Mhm.
So, do you have any advice that you learned along your journey to defining what you love to do that you think that you would like to share with anyone who's thinking like, oh, you know what? I like to draw. I might be an artist.
Just, I think with any aspect, even when it's if it's not about art, but just any aspect, just love it when it doesn't love you back. I mean, and the great words of Nipsey Hussle. I've been through every emotion. I've been through every emotion with art. I've dealt with a lot, gone through a lot, but the biggest thing was I decided to keep going. Um, and then once you make that once you make that distinguishing decision, then you're going to tap into levels that are monumental, and there's going to be people who's going to help push you over whatever it is that you're going through. So definitely, if you're thinking about being an artist or being anything, understand what you're getting into, understand the obstacles that you're gonna go through, understand what it's gonna take for you to overcome those obstacles, and then understand that you're gonna have to keep going. And like I said, just love it when it doesn't love you back because it's a journey, and that's with any entrepreneur. Just get your hustle on. And, that's I think that's what the main thing is. Get your hustle on.
All right. You guys heard Jermar Derun gave y'all the best advice. Y'all better listen. I love it. I love it. Um, so last question is drop all of your social media handles, your website information. Be sure to spell anything for anyone that's listening to the audio.
Okay.
And also just let people know how they can support you.
So my Instagram is Jermar Derun, JermarDerun. My website is www.jermarderun.com, which is spelled the same way, Jermarderun. So that's where you can find me at. My YouTube is Jermar Derun as well. So those are all the things that you can find. Those are all the places that you can find me at. But I also want to take the time out just to thank you for reaching out too, and taking the time to interview me. I mean, I feel like that's a very genuine gesture of you, and we really, even from a culture standpoint, we really, really, really need you. We appreciate you genuinely too.
Oh, heart. Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
yeah,
Thank you. I say that people like us are the change that we need in this world. And I think living your passion, sharing your passion, also sort of extending that branch for other people. Like I said, you're very humble and giving that advice and those types of things I think is very important for people who may not have that oomph that
right.
they need to get out and start living their dreams. So I love that. I love that.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
and so last thing, I forgot to ask about this earlier. I saw something about Germany. So you grew up in Germany or
Partially.
what's your
Partially, my folks were in the military. My folks were in the military, so I spent the first half of my childhood in Germany, all over, mostly Germany, and I spent the second half in the Millington area of Tennessee, Memphis, and Millington area of Tennessee. So I spent that. That's basically where I was raised at. Yeah.
got it. And I think a lot of people that have been to Europe or have some type of ties to Europe, I
Hmm.
think that a lot of people absorb that artistic trait
Yeah.
because I know when I go to Europe, you're looking at all the architecture, you're looking at the paintings, you're looking
Right.
at what and it's whatever country you're in, it doesn't
True.
matter. Like
True.
you getting some European culture over there, and
Yeah.
I think everything is so artsy. So
It
I do
is. It
think
is.
that might be also maybe because you were exposed to it. That
Maybe
might be a
so.
little.
Maybe so.
Mm,
One thing I appreciate about living over there is the art for sure. And I think that in every facet of life it's designed by artists. From everything that we do, From waking up to going to bed at night, we are submerged in something that somebody has created. And I really do feel like as artists, we dictate the curve and we set the trend. And that's just straight up.
And you heard it from Jermar Derun.
Yeah,
So
yeah. Appreciate you.
again, you guys, that is Jermar
Jerma.
De.
I'm sorry. Jermar. Yeah.
Uh-huh. Derun.
Hmm.
So I'll have all of his social media, everything. I'll have everything tagged in the podcast notes as well. So thank you, Jamar. It was
No
so nice to
problem.
meet you.
Likewise, likewise, likewise. And if anybody out there who's listening to this podcast and has got to the end of it, we appreciate you. We really, really thank you for your time. And if you're thinking about getting into not just art, but anything, and you don't know where to start at, reach out. I'm available, I'm accessible, and I'm willing to help.
I love that. I love that. Okay, you heard it. Now don't be reaching out to me because I'll leave y'all a message request. No, I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm joking.
Yeah.
But you could definitely reach out to Jamar. He
Yeah.
loves mentoring. I
Yeah.
love
For
that.
sure. For
So
sure.
thank you, Jamar. Love it.
Thank you.
Love it.
Thank you. Thank you.